Hey, everybody. All right. Very excited. This is good. I think I've said that at the beginning of every video that we've done. This is only video 3, though, so that's okay. All right, so video 1, we kind of said what the inspiration was for this, a little bit about what health equity is. Video 2, we really tried to lay a foundation for understanding, not just defining health equity, but understanding what it is, what contributes to it, why we're not there yet, and what we the need and the purpose and the whole point of achieving that goal. So what I wanted to do in this video was talk a little bit about the difference between equity and equality. So I don't have the ability at the moment to create a PowerPoint and do a nice little, my videos down here, and I'm showing you guys fancy graphics. But I wanted to go ahead when I have the time to go ahead and get this information out there. Because again, I'm a firm believer that the scientific community needs to do a better job of communicating scientific information to the general public. And I'm also a firm believer that the more you know, the more you can do, and the better you will feel, at least in some ways. Okay, so let's talk about equity versus equality real quick. So I know this is backward. That's okay. Oh, I don't have my pencil. Okay, I'm going to use the end of a spoon, and we're going to talk about this nice little graphic. So I'm going to try and zoom in without knocking my phone off. Whoop, there we go. Okay, so here we have equality. So equality has been a fight for a very, very long time, and don't get me wrong, equality is wonderful. It is a fantastic place to start, but if we can do better, why wouldn't we? All right, let's do this a little closer. Here we are. Okay, so this is equality, right? We've got 4 different people, all different shapes, sizes, and abilities. Equality is giving those same people, or giving these very, very different people, the exact same resource. It's equal. We gave you all the same resources. However, this resource isn't necessarily usable for at least 3 of those 4 people, right? It's usable by 2, not usable by the other. And even if it is usable, it's not great. So this is equality, which is definitely better than just complete discrimination. However, we can do better. So why wouldn't we? All right, so here we are at equity. We have the same 4 people. This time, the resources that are provided to each of these individuals fit their needs, so that way they can all reach the exact same goal, which is riding a bike. So you see this little guy right here. Bike was too big, even though it was equal to all the other bikes. It wasn't equitable. It wasn't what fit him the best to make him able, or provide him with a resource to be able to ride a bike. I think it probably fit her. These look comparable, right? Either that, or, she got a better one that fits a little bit better. This guy up here was way too tall. This bike was too small for him. He could ride it, but it's not super comfortable. Down here, he's got one that fits his super long arms, legs, his lanky self. He got a bike. Now he can ride it. And then this lady right here, right? There's no way that she could ride this bicycle. So we got our nice little recumbent bicycle that is equitable, not equal, equitable. So that way she can move forward and join in on the bike ride right here. So that's the difference between equity and equality. Oops, I'm blurry again. There we go. However, we can actually do better than equity. So right now, equity is the goal, because we've made a lot of really, really great progress socially in a lot of areas. And some of those areas relate directly to health and wellness. Some of them relate indirectly to health and wellness. But the world that we live in always impacts our well-being. So if you haven't watched the 9 Dimensions of Wellness videos, there are deeper explanations of those. But basically, health and wellness, your well-being, is about a well-rounded, healthy lifestyle. So it's not just what you eat, whether you go to the gym or not, whether you go see the doctor or not. It's also about your environment, whether you have access to a clean place to live, clean water to drink, whether or not your workplace is a healthy or a toxic environment, whether or not you can pay your bills, whether or not you face discrimination at the grocery store, or, your religion or your spirituality is not something that you feel like you can fully share or embrace, or, what you've been forced into is not something that feels good to you. So there are a lot of different ways that these 9 dimensions can impact our health and wellness. So fighting for equality in all areas of life is going to benefit us to an extent, but creating equity in all areas of life for as many people as we possibly can. And we live in a very, very complex world. It is not one-dimensional, and it is very, very difficult to have equity. It is. However, the areas in which we can have equity and the areas in which unnecessary inequalities still exist, those are the areas that we really, really want to focus in on. And this is not about, we want to make everyone happy. We have to live in this utopian society where, the air is 4% opium and everybody is just like wonderful all the time. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about a society in which certain populations are not discriminated against simply because of who they are, simply because of their existence or their identity. We're talking about populations, the resources and respect to all populations are equitable across the board. That is the goal that we are striving toward now that we've made progress in equality. Now we're striving for equity. All right, we're going to go back to another diagram. I'm going to scoot closer. All right. Oop, if I don't fall out of my chair or knock my phone over. All right, so I know this is backward again. There we go. Okay, so here's reality. You see the difference? Guy down here in a hole. This guy's doing all right, but not great. He's surviving, not thriving. This guy is just, I'll let you guys come up with the adjective for this guy, a description for this guy, but we all see what's happening here. All right, equality, which has been the struggle and the fight and what we are getting closer to each and every day, still have a long way to go. This is equality. So you see how everybody is provided with the exact same resources. This guy didn't need his excessive number of crates. Like, who needs to be that far up? We've seen all the TikTok videos. This is going to be a disaster. This guy, he's still he's doing his thing. Again, not thriving, but surviving. This guy still can't see over that fence, right? So this is equality. They all have the same resources available. However, communities that are discriminated against more need extra resources to get them to even a baseline level of respect and acceptance, which is where equity comes in. All right, so the optimist in my brain would like to think that this guy finally got it and was like, hey, my friend over here needs an extra milk crate. I'm going to give it to him because I am A-okay. I don't need mine. I'm good. I can see over the fence. I'm going to help my neighbor out. So the optimist in my brain says that that's what happened here. Okay. So equity. So you see how they are all on an even playing field now, right? But this guy needed an extra boost. This guy didn't really need a boost. He was already accepted in society. He already had access to those resources. This guy had a fair number of resources given to him under equality, and this guy needed a little extra boost. So equity came in. This guy said, hey, I finally get equity now. Boom. Now we're all on an even playing field. So this is the goal right now. But eventually, moving forward, making things even a bit better, liberation. Now we don't even have a fence to get over, right? There's no fence. However, they are still kind of standing back, not really participating in what's happening. So the ultimate goal here is inclusion. And now they are not only not behind a fence, don't need all these extra resources. They are just automatically included in what is happening in this background photo. When before, you see all the change and the progress and how things got better. And again, I realize that's backward. That's kind of why I used my spoon to explain what was happening. There we go. All right. So that's the difference between equity and equality, and then eventually liberation and inclusion. And again, those things are very, very important for a lot of reasons. Largely because communities who are discriminated against are already down here. Populations who are the accepted norm in society or just acceptable in society are already here. Like, society is designed for them to operate. It's not designed for these people to operate. So the idea, if we turn it into a community and cultural, social wellness thing, people who are up here need to do their best to pull these people up. Once these people start moving on their way up, they need to come get these people that are down here, keep pulling, and everybody keeps pulling each other up until we're all on an even playing field. And then we have to really, really strive to keep everybody on an even playing field. There will obviously be naysayers. There will be people who try to throw out fancy vocab words, politics and government, and, healthcare, vocab that they think they've memorized off the internet accurately, but probably have not. So if you are fighting against disparities and you are doing your best to create equity, whether it's for yourself or for a family member, a friend, your community, whatever it is, don't let the naysayers get you down. Ignore. Just keep going. If you feel like there's a reason, remember how we talked about meeting them where they are? If you feel like it's going to do good to meet them where they are and see if they'll come back, and it'll probably be like this for a little while. But if you feel like you're making progress, keep going. If you feel like it's a waste of time, don't waste your energy. Your energy is needed taking care of you, especially if you are a member of the communities who are discriminated against regularly. So women, especially women of color, anyone who's a member of the BIPOC community, anyone who's a member of the LGBTQIA2S+ community, anybody who is not the definition of a socially acceptable, able-bodied person. That could be the elderly, that could be someone in a chair, that could be someone that has a cognitive disability, that has, and I know some people prefer the term differently abled. I know there are there's another term and I can't remember what it is. If you remember and that's how you prefer to be referred to, please comment. So, because I know everybody has different ways that they prefer to be referred to. So, if there is anything that you have experienced in the world of health or just in the world in general, because it does impact your well-being, please comment below if you are comfortable sharing that information with us. I really like the community approach to things. We as humans are design's not accurate. I'm an anthropologist, so design is not really accurate in the realm of evolution. So we are made. We are made to interact with other humans. We are made to be social. We are made to be community-based. And I'm not saying people who are shy and don't like socializing literally all the time are not part of those communities. I'm saying that as a whole, we exist in a community. And in order to move that community forward, we have to be an active part of that community in whatever way is possible for you and realistic for you. So if you are a member of any of these discriminated against communities, you're going to have to fight a little extra just because that's where we're at right now. And it does get exhausting and it can be overwhelming. And that's why if you ever feel like your resources are completely tapped, like your internal, like your energy is completely tapped and you're like, I am really tired of fighting this equity versus equality versus reality versus whatever the hell is happening right now battle, that's okay. If you're exhausted, that is up to you to take care of yourself. But when you have the energy, when you have the motivation, when you have the resources to fight these battles, even if that is just saying, hey, I know what's happening here. I need to talk to someone who's not racist. I need to talk to someone who's not sexist. I need to talk to someone who's not ableist, who's not homophobic, who's not Islamophobic, who's not insert any ism or phobia here. Do that because that's a tool that you now have. That's a tool to keep in that toolkit. Because the difference between reality and equality is something that we're working on constantly and making progress on, but we need to continue to move toward equity. So remember to fight for those resources whenever you have the energy. If you are someone who is not discriminated against on the regular, or not being discriminated against in that particular category, unfortunately, and you do have the energy to help that person out, because this is a community effort. This is something that we all need to work on, all need to fight for, all need to work on creating for our communities, locally, globally, et cetera, et cetera. So, just so that way you guys understand what to do moving forward with this information. So it's not, here's the info, good luck, because that's never okay. If you have questions, if any of that was confusing, if you want to share an experience, if you want to, I don't know, just comment, please do so. I want this to be as interactive as possible. I know I have a very small following right now, a very small channel, but hopefully we can grow, and hopefully we can make a difference just by knowing and just by advocating for anyone who needs it. All right, we will get another video posted soon. I have limited resources at the moment, but we're going to keep going forward. We're going to keep making things happen. Thank you for sticking around. You all are amazing. Stay happy and healthy.